Hello and welcome to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Nina Adio, a social media marketing expert specific to the wedding industry. On this show, I discuss tips to help you DIY your social media, as well as getting the confidence and income to outsource it. Thank you for allowing this episode to come through on your Bluetooth, your car radio, wherever it may be you're listening from today. Now, let's take your wedding business to the next level. Hello, guys, and welcome back to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. Or if this is your first time, welcome, welcome. You have selected a great episode to join us for. First off, it is the day after Valentine's Day, which is a really exciting time for a wedding professional. Exhausting, but exciting. Well, first off, we made it through Valentine's Day, right? So that's the first, okay, we did it. And now we're gonna wait to see some inquiries come. They may not be overnight. It's not maybe as rapid fire for everybody, but if you're wanting to look into things you can do to improve upon that, then this episode is going to be great for you because Emily speaks with us about how your website and your social media can work together in tandem. And when I say Emily, I of course mean Emily Lee from By Emily Jane. Now, before I get into Emily and the interview, I do want to remind you that tickets for the Wedding Summit series are now open. This is a virtual summit of speakers and presentations, all related to the wedding industry. And for this summit, they are all marketing and advertising related. So I'm going to be on there speaking about growing your audience using organic social media strategies. But here are some things that you maybe can't learn from me because it's not my expertise. So for example, Crystal Cherry will be talking about discover the 3 must-haves for Facebook ads that work. So you know that I'm all about the organic engagement. So if you're looking to really hone in on your paid ads, your Facebook ads, that's when you're going to want to check out. Or Mark Chapman's going to be speaking about Google Ads, reach couples searching for your services. So that's really great. And we have Terica, who will be speaking about making the brand, 6 keys features to create an irresistible brand. So those are just a few examples of the about 30 maybe presentations in total, including the live sessions, daily mini trainings, and so forth. So the sooner you sign up, the more you're going to get access to because they are those pre-launch presentations that are going to be going on in the Facebook group. So if you go to the show notes, I will have a link for your free ticket, or you can visit the bio page on my Instagram, and I will have a direct link there as well. So whatever is better for you. The ticket is free to access everything the day they go live, but if you want to keep the content with you forever, you can purchase a ticket as well. So right now I have 17 of us from the I Do Wedding Marketing community who have joined. I would love to see that number grow, guys, because it just shows the summit hosts that we are a community here at I Do Wedding Marketing, and that we want to participate and learn, and that we are a force to be reckoned with. Now, let me tell you guys about my friend Emily, and then we can get to the awesome interview and chat that we had together. So, Emily is a Squarespace and Showit web designer, and more specifically for wedding pros. She actually started as a photographer and then turned to a web designer. And those are always some of the best stories because they can really relate to your experiences and websites and your needs for a website. So she does custom website design, done with you website intensives, consulting calls, and right now she has a really special 2 week Squarespace experience that is available. Or basically in a 2 week period, you're going to get your branding, your content, and your website done. This is, I think, one of the most cost effective and really transformative offers that I've seen. So, considering the time of year, guys, if you've been thinking about investing in your website, this really could be the time to do it. So, check out by Emily Jane on Instagram or go to her website. I'll have everything linked down below. But right now, we're going to talk with Emily about how your website can work together with your social media to get more leads. I say it a lot and I say it to my clients all the time. My job, what I consider my job doing social media for wedding professionals, is to get people in to their onto their website and to fill out that contact form. But really, all I can do is lead them to the website. From there on, it's your website's job to make it happen. So listen to Emily and see what tips you're going to be able to implement for your business. All right, Emily Lee, you are back again.
Hey, thanks
Yeah,
for having
thanks
me
for
back.
coming back. And once again, you came up with the topic, and so I love having you on because you come up with just these great things that I know our wedding pros want to hear. And today, what we're talking about is how your social media and your website can work together to get more leads. I think so often we're talking about one or the other, and you brought up how like no, they really can work together. So let me just get right into it and say we know how they each individually can be a lead source to your website. But especially, I always say my job with doing someone's social media is to get people to their website. But what about the opposite? How does having a website support social media?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So I know for me, it's helped me a lot with coming up with content for social media because having that blog on my website really serves as a great starting point for everything else. So I used to put social media content first as the priority, and I got stuck all the time. And I know a lot of other wedding pros relate to this too. And it just becomes really hard to post consistently because you're always starting from a blank page. Um, but when you're blogging, which is a whole different conversation, but you really should be doing that because it also serves as the SEO boost for your website more than anything else. So that's how you're going to get most of your traffic from Google. So if you're doing that already, and if you actually prioritize and get that done first, then you can just take little pieces of those blog posts and repurpose them everywhere else that you want to be online. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, email list, Pinterest, whatever it is. And so I think it serves a really great starting point for that. And it can also help you if you have a specific goal, for that month or that quarter, what blog posts you're going to create to help reach that goal. Like if you're trying to sell a specific service or a specific freebie or whatever, then again, if you're matching all of that on all your other platforms and you're talking about the same thing in different areas, you're more likely to reach that goal, which I think is really cool. So that's been really helpful for me.
I love that because even as a social media manager and content creator, I do that too. If a client has a website with content, with blog posts, etc., then I have content that I can create on social media, or I have a voice I can go off of. I know the
Mm,
important parts of their business and so forth. So that's just a
yeah.
reminder to everybody that invest in your content, whether it's an investment of time, spending the time to write it for your website, or whether it's hiring somebody to create it.
Then you can also go back if you have old blog posts, or once you've been doing this for a couple years. I mean, going back and repurposing those old blog posts again and again on social media is also great because those blog posts live on forever in the world of Google and all that. But social media posts die quickly, so you can keep reposting them every now and then, or reposting different bits of that same blog post. So it gets easier after a while once you put in that time up front.
Yeah, and I find that even for one of my clients, I was captioning their Instagram reels, their informational ones. They were doing FAQs. So when I uploaded them to be captioned, I got a transcript. And so I was like, you know what? I should just send this to her because she could fine tune this to be a blog post by just changing the conversational tones into something that was more blog appropriate, which leads me to my next question. So, if we're using our website content and things from our website, how can wedding professionals be conversational on social media, but also maintain that professionalism on their website?
Yeah, so I totally agree it's important to, like, be conversational and relate to people and connect with them on social media, but then on your website, you wanna have plenty of like, showing a lot of your expertise and coming across as, someone who should be taken seriously as a business, right? And so that's something I used to struggle with a lot, because like, in the first couple years of my business, I wasn't sure how to create consistency across like the different areas of my business. And like I didn't know how okay it was for me to show personality or be a little bit more conversational on my website. And I didn't know how relaxed I should be on social media. And I felt conflicted about all this because I was really concerned with being taken seriously. And so what happened was I hid a lot of my like regular personality and quirks, and I ended up working with a lot of clients who I didn't really vibe with at all. And that taught me that business is so much more enjoyable when you actually are excited to work with your client and they're genuinely excited to work with you. So now that is the most important thing to me. And so I actually think more than ever, the goal for both social media and your website should just be to make sure that you're actually coming across like your real self. And it doesn't have to be so different on one or the other. So if you actually do work with clients in person in a way that's very buttoned up and professional and that's what you're comfortable with, then definitely stick to that in all of your marketing. Create that consistency and that's going to be authentic to you. But what I feel like we all need a reminder sometimes that that is not the only way to be respected or to make a lot of money or anything. Sometimes what clients are looking for is just someone who feels like their friend, which is a totally different thing. And so if you want to be more down to earth, that's totally fine. And you can still show your expertise and, you know, be taken seriously as a professional without having to act so serious all the time. You can do things like talk about, have educational resources, give tips on social media that really make people think, wow, she really knows her stuff. Um, Show things like social proof, awards, testimonials. Um, the main thing, I think, even if you don't have all that experience to share, if you can empathize with your potential clients, that's like the most powerful thing. And then a lot of times people don't care if you're always chilling in like a top knot and sweats on Instagram. That's not the professionalism that the your clients who are going to be perfect for you are looking for, if that's the real you. So basically what I'm trying to say is think about how you actually want to be when you're working with someone that you feel really comfortable with and they're like your dream personality for a client. How do you act in that situation in real life? And just bring that into your social media and your website, because that's how you're going to be standing out to those couples that are a perfect match for you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And especially makes sense in hindsight of seeing your website. Could you just say the URL for everybody who's listening?
Yeah, it's byemilyjane.com, by Emily Jane.
And what I love about your website is it does show personality. It really oozes personality and it is fun, but it is so well done. And that's why there is no jeopardizing any sense of professionalism because it's quality. It's a quality website that shows your personality in a really authentic and well done way. So I
Well, thank
definitely
you. I appreciate that.
understand what you're saying, and I anyone who's struggling with showing their personality but still looking professional, I definitely encourage you to check out Emily's website or send her a message. because she really excels with that. I know, me being a Disney nerd and like a wrestling geek, I try to like get it out so this way nobody's shocked when they
Yes.
eventually find out.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I'm really passionate about this, if you
Yeah.
can't tell, because I feel like it is a rampant problem in the wedding industry where people are like getting on social media and immediately apologizing for their appearance at the first thing that comes out of their mouth. And I'm like, stop, you don't need to do that. Like, we do not care. We're just happy to see you. And if that's not good enough for people, then they're not going to be your ideal client. So you don't have to worry about stuff like that, you know?
Right, right. And I think it ties in really well to assessing your ideal client. And if you're early on in your business, you may still be doing the research on that and the trial and error and working with people and figuring it out. But over time, it does get easier and more comfortable. Because I mean, I'll work with venue owners, but they know that under my blazer, I have a wrestling t-shirt or a Disney shirt. And I like to put it out there, but still be professional, but still show my personality because it's what makes me me, and because I'm afraid they're going to find my Disney YouTube channel and then be like, what is this?
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, just sneak it in there in the beginning.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah, yeah. So, a lot of wedding professionals, especially those who maybe have already invested in a website or know the power of a website, they may be saying, so why do I have to focus on my social media too? What do you say
Mm.
about that?
Well, I would say that each of these tools have multiple purposes that kind of overlap, but there are some areas where they serve a different purpose. So, your core website, like your homepage, about page, services, portfolio, all that kind of stuff, your contact page, that's mainly a sales tool. It's part of your sales process because it's going to be selling for you when you're not there. Like when you're off watching The Crown or whatever you want to be doing.
Have you been
um,
spying on me?
Oh my gosh, I love that show. Um, and yeah, so it's selling for you. It's like kind of like that first step when we go from marketing into the sales funnel. And so, but your blog, which is also part of your website, is a marketing tool. It's working more similarly to your social media. Um, so both on your blog and on social media, it can be a way to get new eyeballs onto your business and basically be trusted as a resource. But where social media really stands out in this is it's the place to build that really strong personal connection with your audience, especially over a longer period of time. Because a lot of times, even if someone stumbles upon your blog or your website, they're not ready to buy right away. And it's really important to have a way to keep in touch with those people and stay top of mind. So whenever they are ready to make that decision, you're there, they remember you, and they trust you at that point. I think this is especially important these days because the wedding industry is just so crowded. There's so many options in most vendor categories for couples to choose from. So it's not really adequate enough anymore. I mean, it's not enough to just be adequate at what you do anymore. You really have to find a different way to connect with people or to stand out. And um, having that way to interact with them is a really good way to do that.
I want to kind of piggyback on that to say, especially with my background doing marketing for wedding venues, we often got the feedback from couples that they booked the salesperson, the person who gave them the tour, the person they jived with. And that's why, regardless of which type of service you provide, there is so much competition and they are meeting with so many people that it could come down to your personality. Your credentials may be the same. You may be in the industry around the same amount of time or both be recommended by somebody. But really, what's going to set you apart that can't be, duplicated by taking a course or anything like that is your personality and how you jive with the couples.
Yeah, and also we've been seeing that couples are taking longer to make buying decisions now. People who are getting engaged are having um, a harder time making those decisions. They want to think more carefully about it, and it probably has something to do with the fear around all the COVID cancellations that happen. People just want to make sure that they're really making the right decision and that their investment is going into a really trustworthy place. So yeah, it's really important to connect with people over a longer period of time.
Yeah, sometimes when you're, let's say you're posting a story, you're uploading a blog, or even if you're liking a post of someone who you met with but didn't book yet, you're just reminding them that you exist. Well,
Hmm.
we can put all these big terms on it. It's your marketing, it's your strategy, it's your funnel, but the bottom line, you just want to remind people that you exist. Even if they didn't inquire yet, if they're your target audience, you want them to remember, especially during this long engagement process, that you're an option and that you're
Exactly.
there. So, what social media outlets best support website traffic in your expert opinion?
Okay, so right now, I would have to say TikTok and Pinterest are the ones that more people are willing to jump off of that platform and click through to a different website. Um, I think on Instagram, for example, people are more there to connect with the people that they're following and seeing what
Mm.
people are up to. And they're kind of much more hesitant to leave the app because it just feels a little bit more like a hassle, I think. But on TikTok, I'm seeing that like people are just really ready to take action. And I think it has something to do with the fact that it feels more authentic. And so when you see someone come up on your feed and they're talking about this, you know, hair curling tool that they found that changed their life, people are just like, all ready to jump in the hype on that. And
Mhm.
how many times do you see something like that on TikTok and you go to the comments and it's like, OMG, I went to go buy it, but it's already sold out. Like we're selling out things left and right because of TikTok. And so it's just crazy how on that app people are really to just kind of ready to lean in and listen to whatever people are talking about and then actually do something about it pretty much right away.
Yeah.
So I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, I kind of want to ask you a bit about that because I never thought of it that way, and it makes total sense because when I see something like that on Instagram, a viral hair tool, I'm just thinking ad. But when I
Hmm.
see it on TikTok, I'm thinking authentic hype. But
Yeah.
I'm wondering, how can we pull that into something more local, something that's not offered nationally? Let's say if somebody posted a blog post, or let's say they did a really cool champagne wall. How would you advise they translate that to TikTok? I'm putting you on the spot here a bit.
Yeah. So actually things that are local to your region are also do really well on TikTok. So it doesn't have to be relevant worldwide or even nationwide for it to go viral, which is really cool. And I think having just like, I mean, TikTok is really smart. Like you don't really have to do much. They'll kind of pick up for you what you're talking about and show it to the right people most of the time. Um, but using writing a caption that just summarizes what you're talking about and then using a couple hashtags that have those local keywords could also help. But yeah, like I think TikTok is doing really well for things like visual inspiration. So for example, if you did a really cool like seating chart display or whatever, people love that stuff. Like it really helps to show the behind the scenes process or the transformation, if you will. Another example is like virtual room makeovers are doing really well. So you could do like a virtual wedding design scheme and talk about how you did this for someone and the journey of putting it all together. And that would be something that you could even sell through TikTok. Those kinds of things are doing really well. So anything that's like a low priced offer or a free resource, people want to jump on it like when they see it on TikTok a lot of times. It is harder to sell higher ticket offers on TikTok, but once you get them in the door, like if you can have them go follow you on Instagram, that might be a better way to uh, keep in touch with them and nurture that lead and or have them sign up for your email list, but basically capture that lead with something that's really low risk for them, and then they might turn into a high ticket sale client later. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love it. It's giving me so much inspiration for people of offering something like a custom mood board, or a florist could offer a seasonal wedding flower guide, or,
Yeah.
brainstorm what you could do. Even, like so often I see brides trying to order from online bridal gown sites, but there's a lot of questions they have about the fabrics, the patterns, the swatches.
Hmm.
You could even, that's something you can do virtually with someone. So I love the how you kind of open that up to how we can take something local but make it where you have a low priced national offer.
Yeah, and I would say if you're going to be doing that, try to have a way for them to take action immediately, like either purchase it directly on your website or have a booking form for them to fill out right away. Because I think if you put in too many steps or make it too
Mm.
vague on how they can actually buy that thing, then they're much less likely to do it right then and there. And it's going to be really hard for them to stumble across you again later.
Right, right. And then you also brought up, which I never really thought about, because it is so true. When you're scrolling on Instagram, you're intending to stay on Instagram. But when I go on Pinterest, I know very well that I may be leaving the
Mhm.
platform based on what I find. So, what do you recommend for people with using Pinterest?
Yeah, so even though it's not social media, it is a really good like other platform to utilize because again, you can just repurpose your blog posts there and those pins live forever and they really can snowball over time. So it's actually better than social media in that regard. And it's just like people go there looking for wedding ideas and that can easily turn into them stumbling across their dream vendor, and people also go there to shop. So we go there and we're willing and ready to like click on something that we see and then go to that website and learn more about it. So yeah, Pinterest is another great one that I think is really good to get your website traffic up.
Fantastic. I feel like feel ready to, really dive into all of my profiles now. So let's just get kind of more like in general, what are the steps that wedding professionals need to do or take on social media to just overall see a benefit to their website?
Yeah, and I think this is important because we often do see them as like two separate entities. We might have Instagram over here and then we have our website over here. And sometimes they're not really helping each other out or working together to actually help us reach our goals or make sales. Um, and so if you think of them as a funnel where you're funneling people from social media down into your website, then that's great. So the only way to do that is if you're linking them together. So I feel like I have to say this all the time. Please link your website from all of your online platforms, every single one. Like just go through and make sure that your website is easy to find from all your profiles that are out there. Even if you're using a Linktree style landing page where you can have multiple links on one page and then just link to that one page from your social profile, even then, I still cannot find people's websites sometimes.
Mhm.
So just make sure that one of those buttons or links clearly says visit our website. Because otherwise it's just too hard for them to like go to Google and search you down and that takes a lot of effort and they have to really care. And you could have just lost a lead by just not making it easier. And so,
Absolutely. Especially after the holidays, I notice a lot of the profiles I'm going to have their New Year's Eve event still up and things like that. So it's something you
mm,
really do want to just check into quarterly, because I always think I'll remember and then I catch it later. So you could
yeah,
even,
yeah, yeah.
just do like a Google reminder after the event to take it down or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then, just basically letting people know on your social media what you do and that you're not just an account that they follow for entertainment, but you're also a business that they can buy from. And you really do, like we were talking about, just giving people reminders that you exist.
Mhm.
You got to do this all the time. So some great places to do it where it's kind of like one and done is in your bio in your Instagram bio or TikTok bio or Pinterest, whatever. Um, Also, if possible, on whatever platform it is, you could pin a post to the top of your feed that has a list of your services and it explains them, and just make sure that they also know how to get started with that service. Uh, you can do the same thing on like Instagram story highlights. So anything that lives on your profile permanently, I would recommend using that to talk about what you do. And of course, treat it as basically a mini website. So you can add anything else like testimonials or, behind the scenes of what my process is or anything else that you might put on your website. Go ahead and repurpose that and put it on social media. Um, but then it's not just enough to tell people what you do. You kind of have to push them to do something about it every now and then. So it's really, would you say it's good to give people a call to action once a day on social media?
Definitely, even if it's as little as it being the last line of your caption, just to have it in somewhere to tell somebody, what to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're not used to doing that, you can get comfortable with it by trying it out once a week. But you do have to give people that link.
Mhm.
If you're sharing a resource that you have or a blog that just came out or talking about a service you're offering, you could also do an update on your availability or whatever it is, but just giving them something to do to try to get them back to your website. And that's really going to help people get warmed up to seeing you as an actual business.
Yeah, and if you get tripped up on feeling like you're selling, just remind yourself it's not a sale, it's a service. You're letting people know about the service you do and how they can get in touch. I recommend if you're uncomfortable with, the direct call to action of go to my website to purchase, say, send me a message, shoot me a message, or let's talk,
Mm-hmm.
link in bio. Just use some of the shorter ones to build up to that call to action.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Now, I do want to ask if you could kind of give just the tangible steps for anyone listening. Let's say they do it and they post, they do a blog post. What should they do next in terms of social media?
Okay, so like, you mean like sharing it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the real,
Okay.
just like the easy steps of like you should screenshot it and share it to your story, or you should make a pin, etc.
Yeah. Excuse me. Okay, so I create a graphic for each of my blog posts so that people can easily pin it to Pinterest. So I, just put an image basically with the title of the blog post on it. And once you do that, it's super easy to save that photo, share it to Pinterest, share it to Instagram, at least either if it doesn't fit in your Instagram feed, you can share it to your Instagram stories. And then the great thing about your Instagram stories is that you can add a link to it. So grab that link from that blog post, grab that image, just put them together in a story. Simple as that. So that's one really easy way to promote it. And remember, you probably want to share that a few times, um, not just one and done. I mean, I don't really stick to that rule because I get distracted, but
I
that's like a
know.
best. But
Same.
I'm just as a reminder, if you don't share it multiple times, you might not get as much traffic as you could. But also, so yeah, take the title of that blog post, plug that into your Pinterest pin, write a description. You can also take the description directly from the blog post itself. If you're writing an intro to that blog post, I often repurpose that on a Pinterest pin, on an Instagram feed post as the caption, in an email to my newsletter. It's all about recycling, baby. Like just keep reusing stuff as much
Yes,
as you
yes.
can. And then if your what I've been doing lately is if your blog post has multiple, like, 5 ways to do XYZ, then I'll just make a quick reel with those 5 tips. And I won't go into too much detail. And I'll just say, to learn more about this, check out the blog I just posted or whatever. And then
Yeah.
you can do the same thing on TikTok. So those are just some ideas for how to repurpose and share and get people.
Fantastic.
back to the website.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes, it's like if I don't hear exactly the exact ideas of what I can do, I'm not going to
Yeah,
be able to
totally.
think of it. So, thank you for giving those examples. And before I get
Sure.
to some of our rapid fire questions, where can people follow you and how can they work with you right now?
Yeah, so I am on Instagram and TikTok at by Emily Jane. My website again is byemilyjane.com. And if you want to, keep in touch with me and continue to get website tips like the ones we've been talking about today, or just I talk about general business stuff similar to this topic as well a lot. I do have a lot of free resources on my website, excuse me, that you can download, and then you will be subscribed to my newsletter. So that's a really good way to always make sure that you're seeing my new resources that I'm putting out. Um, and then right now we're doing a uh, what's it called? I can't a bundle. I just lost that word. We're doing a collaboration with a couple of other really cool businesses in the wedding industry, so that we can create like an entire website package for wedding pros specifically, and it's called the 2 week Squarespace experience. And so basically, whereas usually I would just be offering website design and development on its own, this package includes the copy, which is the messaging, the verbiage on your website,
Yeah, that's what we were
as
talking about
well as
earlier, how important that is.
yeah, and the great thing about the copywriter we're working with, I mean, any copywriter that you do work with, is they take the time to figure out what your voice is and how to talk about what you do in an interesting and exciting way. So that's really cool. That's included in this package. And so is branding. So you can get a brand refresh too, with like a new logo and everything. And then also included, the other thing about that copywriting is it also boosts your SEO. So all of that is done in 2 weeks because we have a team
Ooh,
of three
that's like
people.
Extreme Makeover Wedding Business Edition.
That's exact. Oh my gosh. Why didn't we call it? I don't know if we would get like
Yeah, but maybe
in
make a
trouble legally,
reel about
but
it or something like that.
yeah,
Use it
that's a great
somewhere.
idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
That's
that's what we have going
amazing.
on right now. And then we're doing that through quarter one.
Great.
So reach out soon because we only have like 5 spots left for that. But then I also just have like, you can always work with me on website strategy or design, just in general. So I'm always offering that.
Great. Now, I love doing the little rapid fire questions because it's just fun to get to know everybody in a different way through these. So, the last book I read was,
Business Made Simple by Donald Miller.
do
Do you
you
know
rec
it?
do you recommend it? No, I don't.
Yeah, I do. It's it's beefy, okay?
Okay.
Like it's like I think it's like it's supposed to be like a 60-day book. Excuse me.
So it's
Sorry.
simple. It's getting you simple, but it's not simple maybe to get there.
Yeah, so I think he calls it that because he's literally taking everything that you need to know about running a successful business, like long term, and
Mhm.
boiling it down to really simple daily, like 5 to 10 minute chapters.
Fantastic.
So it's really like taking an entire college course on business, but he
Mm,
simplified it like crazy.
wow.
So if you're ready for that, then yeah, it's amazing.
Right, that was Business Made Simple by Donald Miller. And then Cocktail Hour or Dessert Bar?
Yeah, I'm gonna say dessert bar.
Yeah, because you always know you're getting cocktail hour. You do not always know you're getting dessert bar,
This is
so.
true. And I don't drink, so I'm like biased on that.
In 2023, I'm planning to do more.
What we were talking about earlier, being authentic in my marketing. So for me, that means like just like this, like we're just hanging out. That's what I want to be. That's what I want my marketing to be like all the time. And it's surprisingly, even though you said my website has a lot of personality, to me, it's really dull right now. And so I'm rewriting it right now. And I'm in the
Ah,
process
mhm.
to try to just make it even louder and even more like we're just hanging out.
Awesome. And you guys can't see us right now. We really are just hanging out like we're both in our
Yeah.
sweatshirts, the cat's napping on the couch. Like we are just chilling. That's great. I'll look forward to checking up on your website and kind of seeing the evolution of it.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
So, what are you trying to do less of in 2023?
Work in general, I
Mhm.
think, I think I worked way too many weekends last year,
Oh, yeah.
and I also think I was too focused on, putting out content all the time and not focused enough on making sure that it was super valuable content. So
Yes.
I'm kind of trying to flip that around now.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I was telling my husband, I was like, we need to plan a little, like just a weekend overnight, because that's the only way right now to guarantee that I will not work the weekend. It's like you have to take
Mm,
me out of this house. And the
yeah,
last,
I'm
you
with
the
that,
same?
yeah.
Mhm. Do you have any
Yeah,
plans?
because I work from home,
Yes.
I sometimes I just go to my parents' house so I can just, like, stop, like, because if I'm here,
Yes.
I just my hands keep gravitating towards the computer, and I have to, like, "No," slap them
Yes,
away.
exactly. It's very when my husband he was off and he wanted to go, run a go visit his parents on his own, which is fine, but I was like, the only thing that makes my life different is the days you're off from work. So when you're off from work and you're out all day, I'm gonna end up working.
Mhm. I
But
feel
that's
that.
something I gotta work on. And what was the last show you binge watched?
Kaleidoscope on Netflix. It's, like,
Haven't heard of
brand
this.
new.
Really?
Yeah, so it's a heist show, and it's really and
Mm,
I and I learned about it from TikTok and
oh,
immediately went
there
and
you
watched
go.
it, so there you
So,
go.
yep, proof.
It's like 8 I think it's 8 episodes, and, the thing is, like, what's interesting about it is they want you to watch it and they want every person to kind of have a different experience with it. So, apparently, when you pull up Netflix, each person will have the episodes presented to them in a different order. How crazy is that?
Wow. Wow. So then you
Yeah,
can't even
so
really talk about it to finish. So it's really
that's
supporting the
true.
binge aspect of it too. I gotta tell my mom she loves heist shows. Money Heist was her favorite on Netflix, I think. So
Oh, okay, yeah, and if you watched Breaking Bad, it has
yeah,
Gus
she loves
from
that. Oh,
that's the main character.
oh my gosh, she's gonna die. Okay. Terrific. I'll call her right after this. Great. Well, this was another really fun and informative conversation. And I thank you for being on here again. And I'm sure we'll have you back more because there's so much more for us to discuss. Thanks again.
Yeah, I'm always down for that, and I appreciate you having me back. This was fun.
Yeah.